Preview.
Something that we can bring to the table is that industry expertise. It's not just about the pure accounting side and financial analysis side of the business, but it's understanding the drivers of the industry. So for example, with a SaaS business, it's going to be recurring revenue and retention and analysis like that. That's going to really drive the value of the company, even more so than EBITDA. And so understanding where the value drivers are is critical. Of course, on a nursing home, you're going to have completely different metrics in billed revenue and contractual allowances and things of that nature. And in that type of business, obviously, cash flow and EBITDA are going to be much more critical than for a SaaS business that's in startup mode. So really understanding what those drivers are, working with the investment bankers to determine what the focus areas, what they want to highlight, and making sure that we help with the data. One of the things that we can really work closely with the investment bankers is to make sure the data, especially if it's not direct financial data, if it's recurring revenue or if it's retention analysis, that we can help in QCing the data, supporting them in the process and getting that data right. Because while the quality of earnings is critical and EBITDA is critical, those other metrics will also drive the transaction. So any errors or issues with those items can also have a material impact on derailing the transaction.
Yeah, and Daniel, as you mentioned earlier, going through the process of cleaning up your back office, your books, is very important. If, like take a construction company that has maybe perhaps inadequate software to track of their project costs, perhaps they have a software package that isn't complete, doesn't have burden and overhead or whatever into, those costs, that, the investment bank's going to look to us to help clean that up and understand what the impact is on the company. And of course, any potential investor is going to come in and quickly identify and say, okay, well, this software is inadequate. We're either going to have to beef it up somehow or spend money and replace it. So they would factor that in any type of purchase price.
And those qualitative aspects, other areas that we notice outside of the pure accounting, whether there's areas where there's a need for investment or they don't have an accounting team on staff, those are things that we can work with the company on, as well as with the investment bankers, and letting them know, hey, these could be potential issues, or these are going to be areas where there could be adjustments for future expenses, or there could be concern. And not that you can necessarily remediate all of that before the transaction, but obviously knowing about it and having an answer or a plan of how it can be addressed is important.